If you are visiting Mount Rainier National Park this year, you might need a reservation to actually get into the park and see all the cool stuff that there is to do. So stay tuned. I want to talk you through who needs a reservation, what dates you'll need a reservation, and how to get one in today's video. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. I love Mount Rainier. It is one of my very favorite national parks. It just has some of the best hiking trails, some of the most incredible views, wildflowers, waterfalls, wildlife, all of the things. And so I'm so excited for you to visit this park. But I want to make sure you have what you need to actually be able to get in and do the activities that you're looking forward to. So today I want to talk to you about the timed entry reservation system that is now in place at Mount Rainier National Park. So what is the timed entry reservation system? This is a reservation that you will need on top of any other lodging or anything reservations that you've already made. This is one that you'll need in addition to paying the park entrance fee. So everybody pays a park entrance fee upon going through the entrance stations. But in addition to that, during certain times of day and certain days of the year, you will need this extra entrance reservation to show as you're going through the entrance stations. So there's two different sections of Mount Rainier that is requiring this. They are the two most amazing sections of Mount Rainier if you're a first-time visitor and you're wanting to hike all those main trails and really see the spectacular views. So you'll definitely want to pay attention to see if you'll need one of these reservations or not. I am on the Mount Rainier National Park website, and I want to show you a map of the areas where you'll need a timed entry reservation. So the first one is the Paradise Corridor. And this is the area between the Nisqually entrance over here by Ashford and the Stevens Canyon entrance over here by Packwood. So if you're going through either of these entrance stations and you're wanting to do anything up here, Paradise, Longmire, Stevens Canyon up in here, there's some really cool trails down here by this entrance. If you're wanting to do any of those things, then you will need a Paradise Corridor reservation. The second one is the Sunrise Corridor, and that one gets you through the White River entrance. And this entrance is closer to the town of Enumclaw. So if you go up here on the 410, you'll loop around to Enumclaw. So a lot of people come in from there, go through the White River entrance, and then drive up the mountain to Sunrise, which has some really, really great trails. Today, I want to walk you through each of these entrance reservation corridors so that you know exactly what you need depending on where in the park you're hoping to go. So if you're not going to both of these sections or you don't need all this information, feel free to use the timestamps below this video to skip around to what you do need. But make sure you watch the walkthrough so that I can show you how to actually get the reservations as well. So let's start with the Paradise Corridor reservation. And this reservation really covers the most popular area of the park, which is the Paradise area. This is where you'll find trails like the Skyline Trail, which is one of my very favorites in this park. You'll find the trail to Myrtle Falls, Comet Falls, Narada Falls is through here. Lots of really good spots that you'll need a reservation for. The dates that these reservations for the Paradise Corridor are needed are from May 24th to September 2nd, and the hours are from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. during those dates. So if you're planning on getting to the Paradise Corridor sometime within those dates or hours, then you will need this timed entry reservation. However, there are some exceptions if you have a reservation to stay in the park in this area. So that includes the Cougar Rock Campground, it includes the National Park Inn or the Paradise Inn, it includes a wilderness permit if you plan on backpacking anywhere through here. All of those things will count as your timed entry reservation, so you don't need to get one. However, if you're coming in and staying in a hotel or a campground in this area, just be aware that that first day that you check into your hotel, you can't get through the entrance stations with that check-in slip until 1 p.m. So keep that in mind. You can't come in early in the day. you have to show up at 1 p.m. or later for that first day that you check in. These reservations are only good for 1 day if you're getting the timed entry permit. So if you plan on spending multiple days in this area of the park, then you'll need to get multiple reservations. They're good for one vehicle, so they can get your whole vehicle in, but you will need one for each day you're hoping to go into this section of the park. So I want to show you a more detailed map of what you'll actually need this reservation for. So over here we have the Nisqually entrance, and you have the town of Ashford over here. And as you drive in through the Nisqually entrance, then you're going to hit, really the first thing of note is this Longmire area, and that's where the National Park Inn is. You've got a few trails down in here. This is still a lower elevation area of the park, so there's not as much big hiking, but it's pretty interesting in here. Continuing on, you'll hit the Cougar Rock Campground, and then you'll get up to the Paradise area up here. So Paradise is the most popular area of the park. This is where you'll find, as I mentioned before, the Skyline Trail is the big trail up here. A lot of people start climbing Mount Rainier from here, which is really cool. You've got just some really, really beautiful trails and views from up here. So you'll definitely want to come here while you're in Mount Rainier. Continuing on, then you've got Reflection Lakes, which are a really popular short stop. I really like the hike to Snow Lake, which is out here, and then you'll drive down Stevens Canyon. And before you go out the Stevens Canyon entrance, this is when you'll hit the Grove of the Patriarchs Trail or the Silver Falls Trail. There's a couple of really cool things down in here. So the Paradise Corridor timed entry is for between Nisqually and the Stevens Canyon entrances. You can drive this area without that reservation, but you can't turn in and go over here. You've got to keep going. So this is Ohanapekosh right here, and you can get into this campground without one of these timed entrance reservations. So if you have a reservation here, it does not get you through the Stevens Canyon entrance and onto the Paradise Corridor area. You'll definitely want a way to get into Paradise. So if you're not staying there, then you will need one of these timed entrance reservations, or you'll need to go in before 7 a.m. or after 3 p.m. when they stop checking for those reservations. To get a timed entry reservation, I will show you the walkthrough here in a few minutes, but you'll want to follow the schedule as outlined on the official NPS website. The schedule is here on this website. If you scroll down, and I'll put the website into the video description below, but you'll see for the Paradise Corridor, these are the dates that the reservations are opening for these dates. So you'll want to make sure you know when to be on, which day, put it on your calendar. Note that it opens at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and you will want to be there right at 8 a.m. Pacific time on one of these dates to get your reservations. If you're not able to get one the 90 days in advance or so, then they do open up another reservation window at 7 p.m. Pacific time the day before you're hoping to go into either the Nisqually entrance or the Stevens Canyon entrance. Let's talk about the Sunrise Corridor timed entrance area. And so this one, Sunrise, is really cool. I think my favorite trail in the park is up in Sunrise. It just gets you so close to Mount Rainier, and we always have good luck seeing wildlife up here as well. So I love this area. It's not as busy or popular as Paradise, but it does get really busy still. So if you're hoping to get up here, then you will need a timed entrance reservation from July 3rd through September 2nd, 2024, from the hours of 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The reservation window for this area is much shorter than the reservation window for Paradise. And that's because the Sunrise Road and trying to access Sunrise typically doesn't open until the beginning of July. It stays really, really snowy up here. And so you don't need a reservation until that road actually opens in early July. This reservation is valid for 1 day only. And so if you're hoping to come to Sunrise for multiple days, then you will need to get multiple reservations, one for each day, one per vehicle. Now, there are very few ways to get around needing one of these reservations because there is no in-park lodge or anything up in this area. There is a campground, the White River Campground, but that campground is first come, first serve. And to get in there, to try to get one of those first come, first serve spots, you will have to have the timed entry reservation. So they are making you have one for that initial day that you're hoping to go in and get a first come, first served spot. So keep that in mind as well, that they will not just let you through without a reservation, even if you claim that you're trying to get a spot in the campground. The other way to get around needing this timed entrance reservation is to have a wilderness permit for this area. So if you plan on going backpacking and your trailhead is within the White River entrance portion of the park, then that will count as your entrance reservation. So let's take a look at this section of the park. So here's your White River entrance right here. And this road up here takes you to Enumclaw. So that's a lot of people come in through there. Or you can drive all the way around or come in through Packwood. But when you go through the White River entrance, there are some really big trailheads up in here. Summerland is really popular. And here's the White River campground right there. You'll continue climbing these switchbacks up the mountain until you get to the end of the road where the Sunrise Visitor Center is. The Sourdough Ridge Trail is really great. Hiking to Frozen Lake and then going beyond to the Burrows is my favorite trail in the park. I love this trail. So there's just some really, really cool things you can do in this area. There are only 2 booking windows that are opening up for the sunrise area of the park for these timed entrances. And so you'll want to check the website and see where the dates of your trip fall under. So looking at the website here, you'll see the Sunrise Corridor. Here's your 2 dates. Those are opening up at 8 a.m. Pacific time for these travel dates. So it's really just for 2 months of the summer that you'll need this, but those are the important months if you're hoping to get up here to sunrise. So make sure you put this in your calendar, get those advanced reservations if you can. If not, then they are opening up some the night before at 7 p.m. Pacific, so that you can get some last minute reservations. Now I want to show you an actual walkthrough of how to get these entrance reservations. So here I am on Recreation.gov, and this is the website you'll use to make these reservations. I suggest getting here about 10 minutes before the reservations open up so that you have time to log in and get to the right page. If you haven't already made an account on Recreation.gov, definitely do that before the actual day that you need to come and get your reservations. You just don't need to add that extra step on the day of, so I would definitely do it beforehand. Okay, so we're going to search for Mount Rainier, and you can either go to Mount Rainier National Park and get there that way, or just click straight to the timed entry reservations. Okay, so I want the Mount Rainier timed entry reservations, and you'll see when you get here, you have the option to do Paradise or Sunrise. Today I'm going to do Paradise. That's the only one that's opening today. The road to Sunrise opens much later than the road up to Paradise, and so typically this area doesn't even open until the beginning of July. Paradise will usually open earlier. But even when they're open in the earlier season, you're still going to find snow. So just keep that in mind. But let's go in and grab a Paradise Corridor timed entry reservation. Okay, so then when you get in here, you'll find the calendar. And so I'm going to just go over to my dates, which is we're going to go, let's say, the end of June. And you'll see right now they're all saying NR, which means that they haven't been released yet. And so you might see this if you're coming later in the season or as you're getting ready to get these reservations. If you hover over the date, then it should tell you when that day is going to be released. Now, if you come in and it's grayed out, that either means that it hasn't been released yet or that they've all been taken already. And so it might show gray for a little bit once they're all taken, but then it should switch back to the NR. And when you hover over the date, it should tell you the next release date because they are holding some of these reservations back for a last minute reservation. And so you might see just a couple different things here, but usually when you hover over the NR, it should tell you the next available date to come on and get this reservation. And you only need 1 ticket because it's a per vehicle entry. And so you don't even need to change this. You can just leave that as is. Okay, so we're just gonna wait for the clock to turn to 8 a.m. Pacific time when these open up. Again, you're gonna wanna be here right at 8 a.m. because some of these dates will go really fast if it's a popular date or a weekend, if it's in the middle of the summer hiking season. So definitely try to be here right at 8 a.m. so that you can snatch up what you need, especially if you need multiple days, because you're going to have to do this for every day you want to go to one of these sections. So you may be able to get one, but you don't want to miss out on the second or third one if you're going to be there for multiple days. So just get here right at 8 a.m. if you can. That should help guarantee that you get what you need. Okay, it's 8 a.m. Pacific time, so I'm going to come in here. You can see these have all turned blue. They're all available. I'm going to go for the end of June. One ticket, and then you have to choose your 2-hour entry window. Now, you do need to enter during this time, so make sure you are able to get in during the time that you reserve. Be realistic with that. So then we'll click on the entry window we want and press request tickets. And your goal is to press request tickets as quickly as possible so that you can get this in your cart. But then you'll go through here, you'll make sure all your information is right, make sure you read through this, and then proceed to cart. And it's going to show me what I reserved, so that's what I wanted. Let's say you're staying for a second day, and so you want another one. Then you'll go to continue shopping and just make sure it's already in your cart, that it's, showing that it's there before you go out of here. Mount Rainier. And you're going to want to do this second one as quickly as you can because, like I said, people are already in here trying to get stuff. So if you want to go to Sunrise the next day, then you'll do that. If you want to go to Paradise twice in a row, you'll do that one. Like I said, Sunrise isn't open at this point of the reservation process, so I can't show you Sunrise, but it should be just exactly the same as what I just did. But we'll come in here and say, okay, we got June 30th. Let's do the 29th too. Let's be here for both of those days. Select your time and request tickets and get it in our cart. Perfect. Okay. So one thing you'll want to note, let's proceed to cart. You can see these reservations are $2 a piece. And I've got 2 days. If I need another one, I can continue shopping or I can proceed to payment. What I was going to say though is that you can get a Paradise one and a Sunrise one for the same day, but in most cases that's really not going to make much sense because it takes about 2 hours or so to drive between Paradise and Sunrise. So if you're in Paradise, let's say you go to Paradise in the morning and then you want to go to Sunrise in the afternoon, you might be able to get there, during a reservation window to Sunrise, but most likely you'll get there after 3 o'clock anyway if you're going to do both in one day. So keep that in mind as well because you may not actually need both reservations if you're trying to go the same day. If you can split it up though and do one day in each, that's what I recommend. It's really a lot of driving to try to go to Paradise and Sunrise in the same day. So that's just a side note, but we'll proceed to payment here. And at this point, you'll put in all your credit card information, you will finish your order, and then Recreation.gov will send you both a receipt and your actual entrance reservation. So make sure you bring the entrance reservation with you. It has a QR code that they'll scan when you go in. And again, it needs to be scanned. You need to actually go in during the time slot that you reserved. But then after that, you can come and go as needed from that particular corridor. So keep that in mind as well, but definitely make sure that you save your QR code somewhere that you don't need the internet to access because internet is super spotty here. I like to print out a hard copy just in case as well. So you'll finish this out and then you'll get that receipt and that timed entry. And that's how you get the Mount Rainier timed entry this year. I hope that walkthrough was helpful. Now let's talk about what to do if you can't get one of these entrance reservations. If they either all get snatched up, faster than you can get in there, or if you're not able to get a last minute reservation, there are a few things that you can do to go through and still explore these areas without one. The first thing you can do is enter through any of these entrances before 7 a.m. or after 3 p.m. If you do that, then they won't be checking entrance reservations, and so you can just pay your entrance fee and go on through. But you will want to make sure that you're there outside of those hours for sure, because if you cut it too close or you get to those hours, they may make you still have that reservation. The other things you can do is you can enter on foot, you can enter on a bike, you can take a commercial tour. All of those are also exempt from having an entrance reservation. And lastly, I just want to show you the areas of Mount Rainier that you can visit without an entrance reservation. So if you just have no luck any other way, there are still some areas of the park where you can visit without needing one of these. Looking at the map of Mount Rainier again, we have the Carbon River entrance up here that takes you into the park. Not very far, you've got to hike a lot. There's a biking trail back here. The road barely comes into the park from there, but that is an option. Another option is to come in over through here. You kind of come in from Enumclaw. It's a pretty decent drive, but you come in over here and you can go to Mowich Lake in here. And Mowich Lake has some really good hiking trails. It has some beautiful views of Mount Rainier this direction, so that's a great option. Another option is to drive here on the 410 down here, and instead of going into the White River entrance, you can keep going straight. This is still part of the park. You'll get really, really good Mount Rainier views from like right around here. I love driving up here just to see the mountain. But you'll also find Tipsy Lake over here, which is a really cool spot. Beautiful lake with reflections of Mount Rainier. The Notches Peak Trail is really nice. So those are some good options if you can't get into White River or if you can't go in through Stevens Canyon. You can continue down here. There's not a lot to do along here. When you get down toward the Stevens Canyon entrance, instead of turning in here because you need a reservation, this is part of the Paradise Corridor. But if you keep going down, you'll get to Ohanapekosh. You can camp here. You can pick up this trail here from the campground to get up to Silver Falls if you want to hike into this area. Typically, people start hiking more from here, but if you can't get the reservation to go in through there, then you can go in that back way. Other than that, you'll need an entrance reservation to get in if you're visiting from the end of May to the beginning of September, but hopefully it's not hard for you to get, especially with this video. Hopefully you're able to get the reservations you need, get into the park, get out and explore. And if you need any help knowing what to do when you get to Mount Rainier, be sure to check out dirtandmyshoes.com. I have a list of the 10 things you can't miss on your first visit. It has all my favorite spots. And so you can find these areas and get in there, get out exploring, see the beautiful things in Mount Rainier National Park. If you enjoyed this video or if it was helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel, and I can't wait to see you out on the trail.